I'm just a streaming dirt bag baby.
I'm a sexy Asian woman.
Come to my live
Look
stream.
at you.
Don't say
Laughing,
maybe.
flipping, and brushing your days away.
It never ends till you go crazy. Oh, 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 oh. I'm just a streaming dirt bag baby. Come to my live stream. Don't say maybe. It never ends till you go crazy. Oh, 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 oh. Thank you, Uncle Remus. Thank you, Wesley. And thank you, everybody who came. Now that's a franchise I'd watch.
I think you know why you are here. There's a part of you that the normies fear. We know the truth is what you seek, so we welcome you to the home of geeks. Of the oddball, the neglected, the outcast, the rejected, we're all here to celebrate. Anti-Gregory, rebels in the waters and flames. Wherever we are here, we see clear, there's no fear, if there is steadiness.
I have sex with she-males every day. I love having sex with she-males.
All the orphans in Piroga know a guy who lives in a big old bed. Every time a slimy politician hails him, it goes right to his head. Anti-Trucker tries with all his might to save the orphans from the mine. Dirty Spanish know, that slavery isn't very kind. If you like legal bikes, then hey-oh, 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 hey-oh. Dance like a Pirogan.
I'm a sexy Asian woman. Son of a bitch!
There's a nasty rumor going round that bird loves sex with she-males. There's a harem there, oh, the harem was Bird's holy grail. If you venture down to the pit, you'll find a songwriter shackled there. Every night and day, they force him to ride and flog him back. Cecil jumps right up to bark and say, dance like a Karogan. Dance like a Karogan. Dance like a Karogan.
How are you going to be able to get it in the hole? That's the question. And that is the $1,000,000 question. It's not as easy to get in the hole as you think. Come on. Come on. Get. Ah, shit. Oh, well. It was a valiant attempt.
Oh man, he just looks so evil in that last shot. It's absolutely disturbing, isn't it? Good to see everybody. Sorry, I know oddball time. Honestly, it was Mrs. Antitricker's idea that I stream a little early because I'm exhausted, and it's been a really rough week for the back. And she's like, you know what, you need to get some rest. Do your stream early and get some rest. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And so Thomas was first in the house, says hi. 47 Yorktown, quick second, says hello. Resolute says hi. Charles says hello. Thomas says 4 hours and counting, which had me a little confused, but he straightened me out and said that he thought the timer was on Kurogan time. So, gotcha. JP says hello, Jello. Hey, JP. Commander Shutter says, what's up, Star Trek fans? Charles Holmes says, just us tonight. Okay. Kronos says, so first. Thomas says, sorry, I thought it was a Kuroga timer. John, the former peasant, says, howdy, folks. Alice says, hello. Bird O' Prey says, is here, but going to sleep soon. Good to see you, Bird. Yeah, I know you're exhausted as well, my friend. And I hope that your review is done sometime in the next 30 days or so. Mike Richards here from Columbus, Ohio. Good to see you, my friend. Kronos is saying, rock that song. Just had some corona, says Charles. Let's call that new virus the old style virus instead. The old style virus? That doesn't quite ring right. I kind of like the T virus. That was what Andre over at Midnight's Edge was saying. We could start calling it the T virus since that's got a nerd vibe to it. Well sound or am I crazy? Well sound or am I crazy? John? No idea. Wolverine says, howdy, Mr. Friend Buddy. So, a Unibunny sausage pizza is a thing, yeah. Yes, it is. And you know, but it's not Unibunny, it's bunny corn. That's what they actually call it in the show. And I know, you know, some people were going off on me about, oh, come on, you're being too picky here because, yes, Riker said that crap, but first of all, it was season 1, and season 1, they were kind of, you know, didn't find their footing yet. And we all know that Riker went fishing with his dad. We've seen them eating meat. Yeah, I get it. Now, first of all, my main objection to the unicorn bunny stew pizza thing has nothing to do with really the fact that they're eating meat. That was just a joke to me. But it's more about the fact that it's a freaking unicorn bunny. I mean, it's a freaking unicorn bunny. And what do they think to do? Kill it and eat it. If I saw a unicorn bunny, I'd want to catch it and put it on display somewhere. I know it's science fiction. And then the other side of it is, of course, that, wait a minute, this bunny is like, it doesn't even look like an alien bunny. It's like, it just looks like a regular old bunny. I got it! Except that it's got a unicorn horn on it for some reason. Charles! It's $4.99. Other Charles, woot! I get to catch an anti-trucker in the gang live, first time in a week, and that's worth a few coins. Thank you, Mrs. Anti-Trucker. Indeed, and actually she is very wise, and when she tells me to do such things and I don't listen, I always regret it, so. Kronos says, love your streams at sporadic times, you just rock. I hope you're not being sarcastic there, Kronos, and I am sorry that this is not the normal time for tonight, but I am just, like I said, I'm exhausted. Captain Trek says, greetings. Kronos says this song is fake. Kurogans can't walk. Ah! That's not true, Kronos. Bird O' Prey 5 currently can't walk, but plenty of Kurogans can in fact walk. For example, Wesley Crusher can walk, right? And other Kurogans we're pretty sure can in fact walk. So just because Bird O' Prey 5 is incapable of walking currently doesn't mean that A, he used to be able to, as we saw in the video evidence of him doing what is presumed to be dancing, and also just, you know, we know that other Kurogans can walk. So And Corona says, read my last chat, which I already did. Bird of Prey is at a strip club. I don't know where that particular event took place, but he did make it clear on his live stream that the lovely young woman he was dancing with was for hire, if you know what I mean. That is a big old chunk of ice. And let's see, what are we going to have to drink today? We need something. A little bit of Korogan water, I think. If I can get the lid off of it. Let's see. Where was I? And the murders just keep coming on Picard. Yeah, boy, I'll tell you. It's the thing about Picard and the nihilism that I complain about is, yeah, it just seems like there's no intrinsic value on human life in the show, and that's what's really bothering me. And I think that, and not even like, I mean, now they've taken it as far as, because the funny thing is that Picard used to always be well, not Picard, but TNG, you know, they were always big on animal rights and stuff like that. Now it's like, yeah, see, cute bunny, shoot it, need it. And it's not like they needed to. Did they need the unicorn magic bunny meat to make the pizza complete? Because they already had everything that you would have on a pizza except for the unicorn meat. You know, you had tomato and basil and cheese and sauce and bread. Why'd they need to kill a space bunny? Just wondering. Aberjam says, greetings, oh great Turtistani. Don't forget to yell at Picard. Just another day in the NY. Mr. Roy, I have rabbit on pizza. I've never had rabbit myself, and again, it's not like I don't. Please don't take it the wrong way. In no way, shape, or form am I suggesting that it is immoral to eat rabbit. It's not my thing. I've never tried it. Don't really have an urge to. But I certainly have nothing against people that enjoy rabbit. Charles likes the Star Lab shirt. Thank you, sir. SC says, Sup, Anti-Trekker. Hey. And Aberjam says, anyone else getting jumps on the stream? I hope not. I hope it's just you. Try refreshing it if you can. And Darren says, old style was a lager. That's a beer. I know what a lager is, or however you say it. That they used to make in my hometown of La Crosse. Oh, I see. So instead of Corona, it's old style. I get it. I still like T-Virus better. Commander Shutter says, did you see they are making a Samurai Jack game? No, I did not. But I don't know how well that would work, to be honest with you. Because Samurai Jack, as much as I love the show, he is kind of invincible. And so I don't know. I'd have to see. Can you let Trekyards know I haven't disliked them? Cheers. Sure, I can let him know. Did he think you disliked him for some reason? SC says cute things taste good. No, they weren't talking about you, Auntie. It's okay, I promise. Jeff says, hi, Anti-Drinker. Hey, Jeff, good to see you, my friend. And, you know, I'm sure there are some cute things do taste good. I'm sure that there are also some ugly things that taste good. And Chrono says, oh, no, I'm never sarcastic. Terrence says, yeah, basically it was a jackalope they killed. Hey, think of the unicorn bunny in the same way you think of the Mugatu. Well, no, because the Mugatu is a giant ape-like monster that kills people, and the bunny was just frolicking around in the woods when a girl inappropriately dressed up as a Native American, which, I mean, really in the 24th century, you're going to dress up in an Indian outfit like that? A unicorn bunny with venom sacs, that's true, Mr. Lundell. Wesley cheating crusher, that's true. Mike Richard says, since the heart transplant, I'm kind of used to surprises. Speaking of which, I can't remember who it was, but someone on the live stream earlier today called it, or was it on, man, today was kind of just blurry. I can't remember if it was on Life with Matthew's live stream or on my live stream, but someone mentioned that it's kind of funny because this really puts a hole in Picard's sanctimonious speech from Who Watches the Watchers, because at the end of that episode, he puts his life on the line by telling them that if they want to shoot him in the heart with his bow and arrow, that's fine. But then he tells Riker's daughter that his heart is basically impervious to an arrow. Go figure. There were women in cages, so it's a strip club. Not necessarily. There are. It could be. Go-go dancers don't just work in strip clubs. Lots of times when a corporation throws a party, they hire attractive women to dance with the dorks. She most likely wasn't a sex worker, just a dancer. Yeah, I'm sure that's the case. Tom says, at least no pineapple on the pizza. I will give you that. I would rather have unicorn pizza than pineapple pizza. Night Breeze says, hi. SC says, nihilism is the end coming. Why bother? But yet this crew is fighting for life. J.O. is nihilistic, but now has a reason to live. Well, here's the thing. Jean-Luc himself is not a nihilist. That's not the point. And that's something a lot of people misunderstand. Whenever I say that the show is nihilistic, people try to say, well, Jean-Luc, he's not nihilistic. He cares about saving people's lives and stuff. Heck, his whole driving motive is to try and save Soji at this point. But while Jean-Luc is not nihilistic, it's clear that the writers are. And what I mean by that is that there is no intrinsic value on human life or even animal life at this point in this show. When a person dies, it's treated very callously. And in some cases, it's done downright maliciously, and it's basically just not a big deal. And the funny thing is that many people are buying into it because that's kind of where society is nowadays. Society is becoming more and more nihilistic, and so people are okay with that. And I understand that many people may be okay with that, but I am not okay with that. I am not okay with the fact that 7 of 9 blatantly committed murder at the end of that one episode, even though lots of people want to try to justify it by saying, well, her anger was justified because of what happened to Ichim. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Her anger was justified. Her committing murder was not. You can be all sorts of pissed off. That doesn't justify murder. Question to ponder. Is nihilism a factor in movie scripts to keep audiences engaged, whereas 26-episode TV for family is more G-rated? I don't know that... I wouldn't necessarily think that nihilism keeps the audience engaged any more than G-rated content, but keep in mind, something can be G-rated and nihilistic. Nihilism doesn't necessarily mean graphic. Picard is also very graphic. Don't get me wrong, it truly is. And Night Breeze donates $1, and of course, as usual, I didn't have the Streamlabs dashboard up and ready because I'm an idiot, so let me see what Night Breeze had to say. I hope he's not asking me to do the Hypnoturd tonight because I don't think I have the energy for it. But let me see. He put, don't forget to switch to live chat, hit the like button, tell your friends, turn on notifications, donate to the anti-treat fund, download Karuga, and of course, all hail the Hypnoturd. You're killing me, Night Breeze. Killing me, my friend. But, alright, Auntie. Come on. Yeah, you want to come up here and get it? Or you're not going to come up here and get it? Are you just going to lie there and stare at me so that they don't even believe you're here? Come on. Come on. No? Come on. Really? You're just going to sit there? You're just the laziest dog. Alright. So, Hypnoturd. Man. Gotta turn that off, and... All hail the Hypnoturd. You must give yourself to the Hypnoturd, for the Hypnoturd is love, the Hypnoturd is life, and the Hypnoturd knows you, for the Hypnoturd is you. You must give to the Hypnoturd. You cannot resist the Hypnoturd. Oh man, that's about the most I can do today. Rabbit tastes like chicken. I've actually heard that, but never tried it. I wouldn't think rabbit on a pizza would be very good unless the alien rabbit has meat that was more like pork. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what space rabbit's supposed to taste like. Springtime says because space rabbit tastes great. Long live Turtistan. Thank you. And Darren, calling me adult, says he sent me some old picture of some old style beer. I saw it. Jerk. Thomas says, did you hear Seth MacFarlane is developing a Trek series about Tom from Midnight's Edge After Dark's diarrhea? Yes, that is absolutely true. I'm sure. In some twisted reality. Jeff says, how is Mrs. Anti-Trekker? Lovely as always. The absolute joy of my life. The thing that keeps me going. And unfortunately not home at the moment, but she will be in a little bit. And when she does get home, I will be ending the live stream. I don't care how far behind I am, because I do need to get some rest. And so when she gets home, we're going to eat dinner and go to bed. The Mugatu is a unicorn ape. You're fine with that, but not a unicorn rabbit. Sheer bleeping TOS bias. No, here's the thing. First of all, the Mugatu, and I will say this. If you look at TOS, they tried to make their creatures look alien. They failed a lot of the times. And part of that was the lack of effects technology that simply didn't exist today, or didn't exist then, that exists today. For example, it's most people are speculating that the unicorn rabbit was a CG horn added on to an actual rabbit. Why not do something like that with the frickin' why do you have to make it a rabbit? Why not just make it an alien monster? You know what I'm saying? Now, as far as the Mugatu from TOS, let's see if I can get this. Oh, of course. No, it's not gonna. Let's see, because we were playing Counter-Strike earlier. Come on. Is this it? Oh, that's kind of a trip. Me looking at me, but okay, so we can move Mr. Mugatu over here. So you can see this is the Mugatu from TOS. And, well, yes, it's clearly, based on an ape costume. They made enough changes to it to where they're trying to make it look alien. They put spines on its back. They put the horn on it. It only has 3 fingers per hand. It's the coloration is not what you would typically see in apes. So it's obviously, while it's not brilliant sci-fi production, it doesn't look like any creature you would commonly run into on Earth. The same could be said for the stupid, what's the unicorn dog thing from The Naked Time. While I know a lot of people think of it as just being a dog with a horn, let me see. I'm trying to find. I wish I could remember what that creature was called. That would make it easier to find. Let's see. And there it is. All right. So if we look at that thing now, while it is in essence a dog unicorn thing, but once again they try to make it look a little more alien. You can see that the dog is actually wearing some kind of fur to make it look less dog-like. It has the horn coming out of its forehead plus 2 antennae coming out of the back of its head. So it's not just a dog with a horn glued to its head, right? Despite the fact that in this episode of Picard, it is literally just an ordinary rabbit with a horn. And the space rabbit or free range versus farm raised rabbit, I think that people are just okay with hunting for food. I don't know. Isn't like the PETA and I'm a vegan because I love animals, aren't they supposed to be the ones that are like at the core of supporters for this show? I wonder if they're gonna hurt their fan base a little bit, to be honest with you. On Nepentine Rampant rabbits come with a severe health warning. Is sex worker the PC way of saying whore? Yes. Bunny corn pizza? Yes, that is a thing. Cinnabon is here, and Cinnabon, of course, was deeply offended by the bunny corn pizza. Springtime now wants a slice of space bunny pizza. Loquacia says, I think the Picard has shown its cards, really no better than Discovery. There's no point in doing Trek if it's going to be nihilistic. I prefer cheesy first season TNG. Well, I would still argue the Picard is better than first season TNG. I actually would. But I do think that it's not, this episode was definitely the weakest. And then Aberjam says in Penthe, they serve rabbit meat on a stick. It's called bunny corn on the cob. Actually, I was thinking, with the way that horn looked, it looked like you could stick a piece of corn on it and have bunny corn on the cob. LOL, what about the red shirts knocked off senselessly? At least when people die, it actually is crucial to the plot. 7 motivations. Hugh's death will probably be a martyr's death. Well, Hugh's death I had less of a problem with than Ichib. 7's murder spree, I'm not okay with. Like, if Hugh's death was, the only major death we've seen, I would be perfectly fine with it. What I'm not okay with, is there an episode where people don't die? I mean, is there one? I don't know. I mean, Bird's been doing the death count videos. I genuinely don't know if there's been a single episode where they don't off someone. And the thing is that it's not just the fact that people die. Yes, you're right. Red shirts have died in multiple episodes of the original series, gold shirts in TNG, etc. But every single time Kirk mourned, and I mean, a lot of times it hurt when a red shirt died under his command. And, how many times has Kirk talked about how he's responsible for the lives under his command, and, how horrible it is. And in fact, look at the ending to Balance of Terror. There was one person in the whole battle that died. One guy in the battle that actually died. And that death had meaning. That life had meaning. And I mean, I know I have the silly t-shirt that said red shirts lives don't matter. But you know what? In modern Trek, lives don't matter. That's the problem. That's the core of the problem. The only reason that they don't kill off everybody is you got to keep the story going. Would it make a difference to you if the woman 7 killed was later revealed to have a bounty on her head, as in dead or alive? Just asking. No! Because it's not the fact that she died that's the problem. The problem is the motivation behind 7. 7 didn't kill her out of some sense of justice or because she had a bounty on her head. 7 killed her because she was pissed off about what happened to Icheb. And she said so just before she pulled the trigger. It's not like she said, now you will not be able to kill any more innocent Borg. She didn't say, now the quadrant will be safe from your ravages. No, she said, Ichib was like a son to me. Bam! Nightbreeze goes up with number 23. Well, too late now. That's okay. I appreciate the thought, though. Howard just says, on the they breed terriers, especially for hunting rabbits. They're called bunny corn dogs. Well, I think they'd use beagles. They would actually be better than terriers. We should make our own fictional beer commercials and call it Do It Beer. Do It Beer, or Dolt Beer. Wow, I said do it because okay, Dolt Beer. Wow, you're just mean tonight. You're just really, really mean. Captain Trex in the house. I didn't see you there, Captain. Good to see you. Man of Sand says, Riker told Picard the Kzinti, they're a feline warrior race created by Larry Niven for Ringworld. He also wrote them into Star Trek The Animated Series, which he was a writer for. Yes, the actual episode was the Slaver Weapon. We talked about that on my live stream early this morning. And so, yeah, that's actually pretty cool. That's the... that they kind of tied into the Kzinti there. Hope that they didn't have to pay the Niven estate for that. Chrono says, holy crap, only 18 likes. Wow, just wow. Yeah, what's up with you guys? I mean, I understand that you may be tired just like I'm tired, but come on, hit the like button. Do me a favor, will you? Before if you don't hit that like button, I'm going to make birds sing to you. I can do it. I can make birds sing. JP says space rabbits taste like space beaver. Wouldn't know. Stuart says you stream at a time I can see it. Well, I'm glad. Aberjam says on Nepenthe they have special banquets consisting exclusively of rabbit dishes. It's called bunny cornucopia. Oh, that's bad. Dad NAC says I dig the shirt. Thank you, my friend. Bear unicorn. No, it was an ape unicorn, more or less. The Bugatu. At least the Bugatu looked like a viable creature. A bunny rabbit with a horn and poison sacks. Come on. Yeah, it makes no sense. It really doesn't. But, you know, space rabbit, quantum. Google convergent evolution. It has to be a thing in Trek because all aliens are bipedal humanoids. Well, actually, they explain the bipedal humanoids being all around as a direct result of races like the Preservers, as well as, I can't remember what Sargon's race was, but that they were many of the humanoid races are direct descendants of Sargon's people, and the Preservers purposely spread humanoids all around the galaxy. Zachary says, I agree with you. I didn't love this episode. It was okay, but my thing was it didn't move the plot forward, unlike last week. Yeah, and that's, I think, why I had a problem with it. It's not that... I mean, like, the Riker stuff I actually really liked. I loved Riker in this episode. I thought that seeing Picard and Riker together, it felt like two old friends hadn't seen each other in years, that you could feel their love for each other. It was beautifully done. However, there was no point to this episode. I mean, basically, last episode, Picard beams away and the ship is leaving. At the end of this episode, Picard gets on the ship. There was really no change in status of, and Hugh died. Okay, so Hugh's the one thing that changed. Start eating tribbles, and you can end galactic hunger instantly by eating them. Rabbits with growths on their heads have Schopalpomia virus. Never heard of it. But I don't think that this but the thing is, this was a bunnycorn. This was not a rabbit with a condition. We need an updated Mugatu that could be epic. An updated ham puppet plant, as long as they put some effort into it, like that they did with the updated Tholian from Enterprise. I agree; those things would be cool. We kind of saw the plant in Daj's, quarters or her apartment. We saw a plant that you could argue is similar to Sulu's hand puppet plant. A dog wearing fur and PETA bursts into flames. Well, fortunately for the producers of the original series, PETA didn't really do anything back then. What? A dog with a fur? That's cray. Yes. Zachary says the rabbit didn't look that alien to me. No, it's just a freaking rabbit with a horn CGI'd onto its head. We assume CGI'd onto its head. It could have just been glued to its head, because I wouldn't put it past them. Hey, they did a great job with that dog and the enemy within. Better than the bunny. I have to tell you, meat tastes especially good when you kill it yourself out in the wild, especially with a bow and arrow. I disagree with you, but that's all right, because here's the thing: I've hunted, not a lot, but I have hunted a little bit, and I've raised. I grew up on a ranch. I've raised sheep and cattle, and I will say this: that the farmed beef that we had was superior to even the finest venison that I've had. And I've had some pretty damn good venison. So but I think it boils down to taste. I happen to like beef more than I like venison. Nightbreeze says, we got the Peach Crown Royal at Walmart today. We don't have real booze at Walmart here. Some locals on Nepenthe have taken to weaving strips of rabbit hide into their hair they call bunny cornrows. Jeez. Aberjam, oh man, I don't know what you're on tonight. I love PETA. They make me laugh constantly. Well, yes, PETA, I still love I mean, even though I know that they didn't invent it, but that bumper sticker that Darren's brother sent me, it says "People eating tasty animals." I always like that. Stewart says in TOS where the agents in the TOS was the agents and his partner who could turn into a cat was the form of camouflage, or was she able to change into a cat? And the episode was regarding Kirk's space program. Well, it's funny because in both of those episodes, you had in the one Assignment Earth is the one with Gary Seven and Isis the cat, and then you had Cat's Paw with oh gosh, now I can't remember the lady's name, but she turned into a cat as well. But in both cases with Isis, it was because a cat was a contemporary Earth animal, right? And so that's why she was using a cat there. In Cat's Paw, it was because humans are instinctively afraid of cats. At least that was the idea behind Robert Bloch's writing. And so in both cases, they used a contemporary cat because they actually had an in-universe reason to use an Earth cat. And Donnie puts a 3-part comment in there. Hello, everyone. Hello, Michael. Hello, Donnie. Sorry for the delay since I'm busy working on my recreation for the full version of John DeBaney's theme from the 1996 first-run syndicated astronaut drama, The Cape, as in Cape Canaveral. I wish... and then the chat jumped on me. I wish Disney would digitally restore and remaster that series in high definition and surround audio for streaming on Disney+. The problem is that kind of a process is very expensive. Millions of dollars have to be spent, and if you're not going to recoup it in views, it's not worth it. The only season 1 TNG episode I think is good is Heart of Glory, the Worf Klingon one. Commander Sutter says, no one dies in a mock time. No, I'm not talking about original series. I'm talking about in Picard. There are plenty of episodes of the original series, TNG, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, and Voyager, where nobody dies. I'm saying, are there any episodes of Picard where no one dies? And in fact, there are episodes of Discovery where no one dies. But is there even a single episode of Picard where no one dies? I forgot to switch to live chat. Hope you didn't make the same mistake. No, I actually did remember this time. Neutral Zone was good. Neutral Zone had good elements to it, but honestly, rewatch it. It's not that good. In fact, that's one of the most condescending episodes about, oh my God, people in the 1980s were just horrible people. We're so much more enlightened today. Sucks after meeting Hugh and learning about him in TNG that he died that way. Didn't he even get to see Geordi one last time? Yeah, that would have been nice if he had gotten to see Geordi. I actually, where I really think they dropped the ball and missed out on a great potential opportunity would be to have Hugh and Icheb working together. But of course, Manu was never even asked, and Jonathan Del Arco, I guess they just wanted to off him for whatever reason. How many red shirt funerals did we see? It's not about seeing the funeral, it's about seeing the reaction in Kirk. Kirk did not take death lightly. Yes, people died under his command, and yes, he had to deal with it. That was part of the job. But it's not like, oh well, didn't really care about Ensign Styles anyway. That wasn't the kind of thing. But in this, you have multiple murders that happen in this show that basically get, at worst, a slap on the wrist. Trek is suffering from Game of Thrones syndrome. People love Game of Thrones, killing characters off, so they think that's what everyone wants. Well, there is some truth to that, for sure. Is that what Hollywood tends to do is they tend to latch on to, okay, Game of Thrones was popular. Game of Thrones was very graphic, very violent, and lots of people died. Therefore, what people want is very graphic, very violent shows where lots of people die. When they're missing the point that the reason that people cared about Game of Thrones was actually because Game of Thrones had a compelling story behind it. That's why people like Game of Thrones. And I only watched the first season of Game of Thrones. I really liked it, but that's all I watched of it. Because it was a little too dark for my taste, and I really didn't like the way season 1 ended. But But the thing is that I can understand why people liked it, because it's really well done. Unfortunately, that's just they think that the superficial aspects are what people care about. That what people want is basically pornography, right? They want the death scenes, they want the violent scenes, they want the action scenes, but they don't give a crap about the story in between them. And that's where I think they're wrong. At least I hope they're wrong. Remember when the N5 disintegrated that guy in engineering because he was in the way? Kirk's reaction was, while cheesy, genuine and heartfelt. I like that better than Picard. I agree. To help you out, 7 was after vengeance, not justice. Yeah, I kind of said that. I'm sorry for being mean. I will refrain. That's all right, Darren. You wouldn't be you if you weren't mean. Your beer should be a Dia beer? Dia beer? Don't get that. Stop cheating. We all saw you cheat. No idea what you're talking about there, Wes. Yoda needed to be there to yell. Yoda needed to be there to tell 7, once you start down the dark path forever, it will dominate your destiny. Well, the Star Wars universe is a whole different thing with the Force binary, which whether you are either good or evil, and you can switch from good to evil, but there's very little gradation in it. I know you disagree with me on that, Mr. Miles. But if you look at the characters, I mean, it's like, oh yeah, you make one evil choice and all of a sudden you're going full on evil unless you manage to stop yourself, when most people don't. How are things? Looks like the Borg are coming back in force. I don't know that the Borg are coming back in force, but I do think that we'll get some action with that cube. Do you think the reason Riker left the Titan was to take care of his son, or do we not get the whole story? I don't know that they've even considered it at this point. I mean, some people are latching onto the fact that Troy said that they raised Thaddeus on starships, plural, as if the Titan was not the only ship that he grew up on. However, that's without really delving into the backstory. Who knows? I do know that it seems that the reason they went to that planet was because Thaddeus was sick. And so whether or not that's how he left the Titan, we don't really know. But it would be logical. Are you enjoying the puns, or are they too bunny corny? Oh, that one was your worst one. Donnie says, here's my recreation of broadcast version of that same tune. Very cool. You can check it out at the SoundCloud, although I'm not going to play it because I don't want to take a chance at getting copyright, and of course it'll just start playing on its own. There. I don't want to get a copyright strike for playing it. SC says, wasn't Klingon food popular on DS9, eaten by Starfleet and Federation personnel? Riker seemed to love Klingon food, by the way, and the Klingons like their food fresh and alive and kicking. Well, we kind of talked about that right at the beginning of the live stream, SC, is that my point about the bunny corn pizza was not the fact. Yes, I made a joke about it in my video about the fact that Riker had the sanctimonious speech about how evolved man is because we don't need to eat meat, right? And that is, to me, hilarious how, basically everything that Riker and Picard used to preach on TNG is patently false. And okay, I shouldn't say everything, because somebody's going to find something they said that's true and say, see, Andy Checker's a liar because he said everything, because people want to get stupid and pedantic about that. But most of what they say turns out, like the whole eating meat, taking drugs, smoking, drinking, all this stuff that they talk down on and that they act like is just a thing of mankind's past, clearly is not. And it's not just Picard that showed that. Because if you watch the whole of TNG and DS9 and Voyager, you will see that these things are still around. So, it's not just Picard. Picard is just kind of throwing it all out there, though. And remember that Space Rabbit is venomous, too. Of course it is. Of course it is. Captain Redneck is in the house to be a thorn in my side, as always. Good to see you. Commander Shutter says, since you have threatened us, if we did not like the video, some of us have downvoted to regain our affection. make Spoke die. Well, Commander Shutter, no, I do not play super chat rewards on demands of people who have done their thumbs down. No, sir! Not this day. The line must be drawn here! Melfi says, we no longer enslave animals for food unless it's unicorn bunnies and alien bird eggs. Yes. Captain Redneck gives Nepethine a 9 out of 10. The only issues was Agnes suddenly feeling guilty. And Night Breeze donates a buck, says, down with Kuroga and Death to Disco. Give me just a second and I will play Death of Disco. And thank you, Night Breeze, my friend. Anyway, so Agnes suddenly feeling guilty knowing a possible future, Vulcans can't do that. Yeah, we don't know what O's information source was. So I'm willing to give that a pass as long as there's an explanation later on. But I got to disagree with you a little bit here, Captain Redneck, because there are a lot of problems with this episode. On the surface, I mean, like I said, I really loved the Riker-Picard stuff. I thought the Riker-Picard stuff was perfectly fine. But for example, why wouldn't Riker and Troy go to the Baku homeworld to heal their son? And if you say, well, maybe the Baku don't want them there, well, then they could just park in orbit like they did on the Enterprise, and everybody got better on the Enterprise just from being in orbit of the planet. Which, by the way, in Star Trek Insurrection, why didn't the Sona just do that? You don't even need to be on the planet to benefit from the radiation, but whatever. I'm sorry. And Agnes suddenly feeling guilty, sure. Why is it that the EMH didn't pop on, earlier? Why didn't she activate the EMH before she injected herself? Why is it that, now when somebody gets upset on the ship, Rafi's like, oh, let Auntie Rafi take care of you, like she's going to give her a bunch of drugs and then gives her cake? Whatever. But hey, if you liked it, that's all subjective. I'm glad you liked it. But a 9 out of 10, that's crazy. That's like best of both worlds territory. So I am assuming you're being hyperbolic. I enjoyed seeing Picard and Will together again, but wasn't necessary to have Picard act out of character just so another woman could tell him off. Well, of course it is. I enjoy. See, Loquisha says, did they explain how the Stargate transporter was able to find Nepthine? Did I miss that? No, they didn't explain how specifically they found the coordinates. Maybe Picard just had them, because he knew approximately where the planet was. So why not? Please, no friendly sheep stories, please. Yeah, what? That's. Yeah. If a Mogatu was in Star Trek Discovery, Brennan would talk it out of attacking, and someone will female Mogatus are highly intelligent. You're probably right. Do you think Mamo Prey did a good job on her first live stream? Unfortunately, I didn't get to participate. I was on a different live stream at the time with Life with Matthew. I just stopped in and said hi in the chat, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. I hope it went well for her. I'm glad that she did it, and I want to encourage her, if she enjoyed doing it, to keep doing it. The thing about venison is the taste is good, but not very strong. I'm not saying that but it's not. I just prefer the flavor of beef over venison. That's just my own personal taste. They pretty well established now that real food tastes better than replicated, so why eat replicated food? Well, because quantum. Convenience, really. Why is it? I mean, come on. I would dare say that most of us would probably agree that a fine fettuccine Alfredo, properly prepared, is a much tastier dish than top ramen. But top ramen costs 10 cents and takes 3 minutes to make. So people eat top ramen. And let's see. Instead of unicorn rabbit, I would have picked an animal less cute and one that isn't commonly eaten here on Earth, like a pukaloo from Deep Space Nine. Well, I would have made it alien looking at least. I mean, that's the thing. It's not like they didn't have the ability to make some kind of alien looking creature. That's kind of what. And it's like, really, you're just gonna glue a horn on a rabbit? Hey, brother, venison is great and cheap to hunt in southern Illinois. Good beat-up jalopy on the highway, and you have dinner for a while. Well, that is an advantage to living in an area where you can readily hunt. Unfortunately, I do not have the ability nor equipment to properly hunt these days. I've only gone on a couple of hunting trips, and the equipment was not mine. Cat's Paw was supposed to be a Halloween episode. Yes, it was written by Robert Bloch, actually, the same person who wrote Psycho. And Captain Redneck says, "Good Lord, Anti-Trekker is behind in the chat." I know, it's amazing, isn't it? Wesley says, "I know you were joking, but please don't call me a cheater on Counter-Strike. Thanks." All right. As long as you stop cheating, I will stop calling you a cheater. It took until I'm just kidding. It took until season 3 for Archer to lose a crewman. Yeah, see? The lyrics to Reading Rainbow sounds like a Jim Morrison song. Wow, that's random. Nightbreeze says, wasn't that part of the point of the TNG episode where the Ferengi returned to the ship and tried to destroy Picard? He had trouble letting go when people died under his command. Yeah, that was a part of Picard back then. Wow, you aren't on slow mode taking a walk on the wild side? Actually, slow mode is on. And then he says, "Oh, never mind, son of a bitch." Yes. Of all the death he's seen, Spock's death hit Kirk the hardest. I would agree, but Spock was awesome. I mean, that's true of anybody. You can be the most compassionate person in the world and cry a million tears of sorrow every time a rat gets killed in a trap. But if it's your best friend dying, that's different. It hits you harder. Did you catch this week's Ready Room? Frank, Spiner, Wheaton seemed pretty genuine and have fun being together. It was pretty cool to see. No, I don't watch Ready Room. I don't have a problem with the show, but I don't like gossip shows generally. Okay, so you have slow mo mode. Are you still really backing up on the chats? You are still really backing up on the chats. Well, that's because we have almost 100 people watching, Kronos. Dolt beer, it makes you stupid. And Kronos wants some Dolt beer. Diabera. That's even worse. Mr. Mouse says, did you watch the preview for the next episode? Yes. Yes, I did. Bunny Cornflakes is the best breakfast, says Commander Sutter. Okay. And the reason I kind of sigh like that, Mr. Miles, is because if they're going to tie it into Discovery, then that's how they're going to do it. And so we'll see. Because that apocalyptic vision that we got in both Commodore O's Mind Meld and in the trailer for next week are suspiciously similar to the apocalyptic vision that Michael Burnham got. So we'll see. And Nightbreeze throws $10, wants to see Mega Chat #1. Haven't played that in a while. You got it, my friend.
Oh, what is this? A female of the skunk persuasion. She is so stunning, I must...
Hey, what are you doing? Stop objectifying that cat.
What is this? She is Le Cat? Oh, I'm so sorry, I did not know.
Oh, what? Because she's a cat, she's not good enough for you?
No. But we are not even the same species, so...
Oh, so now you're cat shaming.
No, I am just...
Get him! Oh, so objectifying women and cat shaming is not bad enough? Now you have to make fun of the disabled? Jeez.
Thank you so much, Nightbreeze. I forgot about that one. I haven't played it in a while. Darth Maul says, wrote a long post for on your review for this episode. Long story short, I'm going to be very angry if they kill off the Rikers. Feel free to read my whole post. Too much nihilism. I agree there's way too much nihilism in modern Trek. I've gone off on it quite a bit. But I don't think, honestly, that they're going to kill off the Rikers. I think that what we've seen of them is all we're going to see of them. That's just my 2 cents. If they do kill off the Rikers, that'll be a bad move. The best Trek, The Wrath of Khan, is that nihilistic. If we don't have Star Trek 3, Khan slitting throats, creatures in their bodies, Cap's getting vaporized, Scotty's nephew killed, Kirk relishing killing Khan. Well, Kirk didn't relish in killing Khan. No, actually, see, that's the thing. That's where people have a difficult time wrapping their heads on what is nihilism. Nihilism is not simply dark. It's not simply death. Nihilism is about the futility of life, the meaninglessness of life, particularly in a but for lack of a better term, atheistic worldview. That there is no God, there's no greater purpose, there's no purpose to anything, therefore everything is meaningless. That's at the core of nihilism. If everything is meaningless, then what does death mean? Nothing. What does life mean? Nothing. Everything means nothing. That's the core of nihilism. So when you look at Star Trek 2, is there death in Star Trek 2? Absolutely. There's a bunch of death in Star Trek 2. But none of that death is meaningless. And at no point did Kirk relish in killing Khan. And in fact, after they did, and this is trademark Captain Kirk. At the end of the battle, when Khan's ship is disabled, Kirk wants to beam Khan and anybody else aboard the Enterprise and bring him back. But then Khan sets off the Genesis device and makes that an impossibility. So that's, and so there's a big difference between death and valuing, man, I can't talk today, having value for life. Wow, why can't I? What's your opinion on an upcoming movie, Dune 2020? I think it's going to be the next Star Wars or Star Trek. I don't think it'll be the next Star Wars or Star Trek, but if it's well done, it'll be good. It's more like Trek than Star Wars, but it's got more action than typical Trek, so we'll see. Darren says, one of the futuristic things about Trek is that they would introduce fantastic things that would change the status quo, like the Briar Patch Planet, and we never see that thing again. Yeah, that is an extremely frustrating thing about Trek, is when they come up with, for example, in Star Trek First Contact, they got time travel just by modifying the deflector dish. So how could the Federation ever lose after that? Oh, the Temporal Prime Directive! Whatever. Ferengi tube grubs, dank and musty. Sounds nasty. I feel pissed on blood wine. Well, that's... okay. The Rikers quote about animals from TNG. I always thought it was talking about farming or ranching domesticated animals for mass slaughter, not hunting them in the wild. I understand that, Loquacious, but that's why I included the follow-up quote. As soon as Riker said that, the alien said, but we've seen humans eating meat. And so what does Riker say? No, you see, you've seen them eating something just as tasty and delicious as meat, but it's actually inorganic material synthesized by our transporters. Basically, he's talking about replicated meat. And so, at that point, Riker is telling him, no, you've never seen humans eat meat. We don't eat meat, we eat replicated meat, because meat is bad. But of course, retcon is retcon. Now, again, I'm not saying that that Riker didn't, already contradict that in later episodes, like, talking about his dad, who he would go fishing with and stuff like that. That's all fine and dandy. But the rabbit unicorn thing is really just stupid to me. The Sona wanted to punish the Baku. That's true. But I'm just saying, but the Sona could have, if their whole thing was that they just wanted to keep the youthful things of the radiation, they could have just kept their ships in orbit around the planet. The Sona did not do that because the radiation was not concentrated enough to return their longevity. Right, because they left, but they shouldn't have ever left. They could have kept their technology and just stayed in orbit around the planet and lived forever. The Baku are also one tiny community on the whole planet. However, it is possible that the planet would not have helped the younger Riker. Right, and that's where I think that's where lazy writing comes into play, Darren. Absolutely. And Captain Trek said, "Who give this show a 9 out of 10?" That would be Captain Redneck. But here's the thing, Darren, is that if they rewrote that just enough, I mean, it wouldn't take much. All they'd have to do is, instead of going to, if Nepethidi or whatever the name of the planet is, they go there, and it turns out that is the planet in the Briar Patch. And they can have, if they really want to keep the Rikers having a family tragedy with their son dying, then they can sit there and say, yeah, we came here because we were hoping that the metaphasic radiation of this planet would heal him, but unfortunately it doesn't work on anybody that's younger than puberty, which, by the way, is something they mentioned, that you don't stop aging until you've gone through puberty and everything. That's in the movie. So they could argue that, well, maybe it doesn't heal you until you hit puberty as well, and so it wasn't enough. If they had done something like that, fine. Although I'm sorry, I'm perfectly okay with the neuronic cloning thing, but the silicon-based virus that needs to be cultured in a positronic matrix. So what, did they want to stick some germs in Data's brain to make the cure for their disease? That makes no effing sense, but whatever. Quantum. What was in the cake? Auntie Raffi's special ingredient? I'm thinking yes. Ralph says, there seems to be in Picard... Oh, and chat jumped on me. There seems to be in Picard, as soon as a character becomes done, their usefulness, they're killed off. Apparently, yeah. The Briar Patch was extremely hazardous space. The Baku were isolationists and hated tech. Maybe after causing an insurrection, the Federation said we should stay away. Except that, here's the thing, SC. If you look at the way insurrection went, the metaphasic radiation can cure anything, right? It cured Geordi of not having functioning optic nerves, right? It can cure anything. And if that's the case, if the Briar Patch metaphasic radiation can literally cure anything, you don't ever have to make contact with the Baku ever again. You build a massive station in orbit, and yes, is the Briar Patch the easiest place to navigate? No. But did the Enterprise have any trouble getting there? No. It's not that difficult. It's not that dangerous. And if you have sick people from around the Federation, all they got to do is get on a ship, stay at this orbiting hospital for a couple of months or whatever they need to, and then bam, once they're healed up, they leave. And they have it heavily, regulated by the Federation, so the people can't just stay there forever. Oh, that's funny. So the Magatu mask, huh? That's not a bad mask, actually. So that's pretty cool, Thomas. Let's see. Darren says, well, I agree that the replicated food should not be as good, at least when it comes to taste. And Nightbreeze put in another $1, says, the writers must have watched DJ's stream and gotten the idea of a unicorn bunny. And Super Chat 21. Holy crap, you got me there.
Pork. It is with cooking with the pork and the pork. Okay, with the cool, and we're gonna make the cope. Here's bring out the cope.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, the cope, I get it in the pot.
Get in the pot here.
And then we stir the cope. That's a good cope.
Okay.
There you go. And thank you again, Night Breeze. Darren says, I agree that replicated food should not be as good, or when it comes to taste, as real food and Trek. I think they were pretty good about that on the show. Convenience. Yeah, absolutely. I think that it does make sense that you would, on a regular basis, eat replicated food. It has all the nutrients and everything that you need, but maybe not as tasty and not as expensive. Oh no, they have money! But yeah, not as expensive, right? Replicator, you can probably replicate all day long and not spend anything, or at least spend very little. But if you want to get a real piece of steak, that's going to cost you some money, because now cattle farming isn't a massive institution. It's probably a fairly rare thing. But you could make top ramen fancy and really long to prep. Yeah, you could be stupid. Kidding. There have been nods how replicated food has a certain taste. Yeah, that's, I mean, even down to like synthahol, you know, Scotty, when Scotty first tasted synthetic scotch, he was like, what the hell is this crap, right? So I get it. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the Rikers wanting real food and stuff, but it does seem kind of silly that why does Picard have replicators at Chateau Picard? Because he's clearly rich. He doesn't need to, you know, sit there and have his tea replicated. Would it be so difficult to have your list of SCs show up underneath your video? I'm not a content creator, so I'm not as smart as you. I used to have the whole list there, and then people got pissed off at me for that. But maybe I'll bring it back. Real food versus replicator food. Can it be equated to real breasts on a woman versus fake breasts on a woman? I don't know. I've never handled fake ones. Okay, folks, sorry to leave before Antrekker even catches up to my opening greeting, but I gotta go. Have a good insert relative time period here. Sorry, Vile. You have a good one, my friend. Well, of course, you're gone. Sean says, you should Google Paloma virus and look at the images. Warning, once seen, cannot be unseen. Well, in that case, I will not be Googling it. Wait, you're American. How do you not have things for hunting like guns? Because not every American has a bunch of guns. And honestly, I'm not anti-gun. I would own... There's a couple of firearms that I would really like to have. But the reason I don't, quite honestly, is because I have an autistic son. And he has a tendency to get into things that he ought not to. And so the last thing I want is to come home from work to find that he got into something and hurt himself or someone else. Just being responsible. Someone did cover a Reading Rainbow as The Doors. That's kind of cool. I wouldn't mind hearing that. Just thinking peeps may tip more with more easily readable list. Well, you know, here's the thing, Chrono, and I appreciate that. I truly do. But I don't do this just for Super Chats. Granted, Super Chats are great. I love them. But I do this because I love hanging out with you guys. Star Trek 3 says, not all French people smell bad. That's racist. Wow. Joshua's animations have got a lot better over the years. They have. Wait till you see the new one that's... wow. Yeah, you're going to be... Wait till you see it. I'm actually not going to debut it as a super chat. I'm going to debut it as a standalone video because I think it's going to be really good. YouTube is being lazy. Thankfully, Vivian got the notification that you were streaming. Thank you, Valor, and thank you, Vivian. The bunny corns will peel the skin off River as revenge. Okay, that's a little dark. By the way, I'm watching for the sorries. That is all. I think I'm doing okay. All AIs are not evil in the Star Trek universe. There goes a lot of canon from TOS through TNG. Well, yeah. Well, but of course, does that mean Data was inherently evil? And why have we still not heard from Lore? Seriously. Kirk didn't kill Khan. He told him to surrender, but Khan turns on the Genesis device and the Enterprise needs to leave him quickly. Very true. Nihilism, bleep me. I mean, say what you want to about the tenets of National Socialism. At least it's an ethos. Yeah. Thomas says, I typed that before you said it. Not sure what specifically we're talking... as far as the Kirk didn't kill Khan. Yeah, I believe you. I don't think Dune can ever be like Star Wars and Star Trek. It's not even on its best day. Well, it's a different type of storytelling. It's a different type of story. But I'm just saying it's more like Trek than Star Wars in that it's really more into the high concept sci-fi than Star Wars is. Kirk use time travel in TOS to study Earth during the Cold War, where the guy and his cat appear, and we never see that tech used again. Yes, that's one of those things that Darren's talking about, because what happened was in The Naked Time, they accidentally discover the slingshot effect of time travel, and then in Assignment Earth, they just casually say, oh yeah, we used the slingshot effect to go back in time, and now we're studying Earth in the 60s, and the next time it's mentioned is Star Trek 4. If Riker had moved to the Baku planet, then how could they have killed and eaten the unicorn bunny? Well, who's to say there weren't unicorn bunnies on the Baku planet? Cisco used eggs in cooking, and his father used real meat in his restaurant. I'm not going to repeat myself for the fourth time about that one. If you want to know my answer to that, you're going to have to watch the rest of the stream, because I already touched on that 4 times.
Hello, world.
And Thomas puts $4.99 into the chat. Thank you so much. It says, all hail the Queen, indeed. And Uber chat number 11.
But here's what we're gonna do. It's a beautiful day in Karoga. Of course, it's time to protect the Karoga homelands. Ah, shit! We're already taking shots. What the hell was that? What? Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Who shot me? Who shot me? Where's the body? There it is. God damn it. God damn it. Fuck. It would help if it was telling me where people were shooting from. Fuck! Or Alamarine, if you can see. Alamarine, you'll come with me. Alamarine.
Yes, that's Bird of Prey 5 trying to be a warrior. And thank you, Thomas. Oh boy, could we be getting close to an anti-checker rant? Nah, not quite at rant level yet. Kind of a coincidence, and there's the mask. Yeah, random question. If humans are eating synthesized meat, wouldn't that mess with human evolution? No? Not unless that meat was causing mutations. Cisco and Deep Space Nine retcon things as well. Oh yeah, every show did some retconning. No Trek show is innocent. And by the way, Darren wanted to correct me. I did miss one other use of the slingshot in Tomorrow's Yesterday, the one where they accidentally ended up in the 1960s. Whatever did happen to your punching bag? You should have that nearby these days. I actually have it right here, and I used it in my video today. Obviously, you didn't watch my video today. Captain Morani says, Briar Patch Planet radiation and puberty are a backdrop to Riker's tragedy. Incredible. This type of insight makes me wish you were a consultant on Trek. Well, that's the thing. They could have touched on it, but they didn't. That's what pisses me off. I would love to be a consultant, but they wouldn't want me because I would get pissed off at them a lot. I don't know if that's what happened in Naked Time. It's the same as what happened in the other episodes. Actually, it is. They accelerated away from the planet at the last second. But I think actually I misspoke. It was Tomorrow's Yesterday's where they discovered the slingshot effect, because they accidentally got too close to a black hole, and when they snapped away, that's when they went back in time. Who would the Mrs. like more, Cinnabon Bunny or DJ Odyssey in his bunny suit? Cinnabon. Just like the other person said, it seems once these characters are done serving the plot, they're killed off. Unfortunately, yeah, that's because there's no value to anybody in this universe right now. Stuart says, when it comes to animals in Star Trek, what has been the oddest one that does not make no sense? almost any animal that exists in space. Like the space whales from Discovery, the space jellyfish from Encounter at Farpoint, any kind of animal that they show flourishing and existing in space honestly makes very little sense, because space is so big and so vast that there's really no way that an animal could survive. But hey, whatever. The Baku planet's healing effect came from the radiation continuously regenerating their genetic structures, but what if you have a genetic condition? Would that just perpetrate the flaw? That's a good question, and we don't really know. We do know, though, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not 100% sure on this. I've been racking my brain, and I can't remember. I know it was said in an episode, but was Geordi born blind? I think he was, but I'm not 100% sure. I could have sworn they said that he was born blind, that he's always been blind. It was, in fact, a genetic defect. And yet, the Baku radiation restored his eyes. And Darth Maul says, yes, he was born blind. So, in that case, it would cure a genetic condition. Into Darkness and Khan's blood cure anything, so they couldn't kill Khan. But wouldn't any of the other augments have similar blood properties? You would think. Maybe Khan just had magic Cumberbatchian blood. Maybe Picard likes replicated tea. People sometimes have the strangest taste. I could see that as a possibility. The silicon virus seems to be writing to be a way to justify a clone from Data's positronic brain cell cloning. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, honestly. And in fact, here's the biggest problem with this. And the problem is, I wish I knew the name of the documentary. It was a documentary I saw once, and it involved Neil deGrasse Tyson and Michio Kaku and a couple other physicists that I really like. And they're talking about alien life. And one of the things they talked about was, the idea that aliens were going to come and eat us, right? Or the idea that diseases on this planet would be a defense, like what we saw in War of the Worlds. And they scoffed at both of these ideas, because if the aliens came from a completely different biosphere, their inherent chromosomes and the way that they're developed and everything would be incompatible with our digestive systems and immune systems, and vice versa. In other words, a human disease could not infect an alien from another planet unless that alien was, in fact, had a common ancestry with humans. And so this silicon virus would have absolutely zero effect on a human, but would probably make a Horta really sick. Also, you could have put your kids into a medical stasis to keep them alive. No, that'd make too much sense. And Wesley says, not every American has tons of guns. You have great reason. For me, it's cost. California guns are expensive. Yes, California guns are very expensive. I like the Turnus Judge. It looks like the gun Hellboy uses. Kind of the gun you shouldn't even need to fire once as the bad guy sees it. And Mrs. Anti-Tricker's waving at everybody. Hey, babe. If you're still here, you're probably gone by now. Richie says, hi, Mrs. Anti-Tricker. Rambling Cook says hello to everybody. How's my pain brother doing, my friend? I'm glad to see you. Hope that you are having as good a day as you can. Aberjam saying hi to Mrs. Anti-Checker. Did you see? Jeff says, hey, Checker, why do you want to hear from Lore? Isn't he reloaded enough? Okay, that's off. Mike is saying hi to Mrs. Anti-Checker. Thomas saying hello to our queen. Chrono saying, Mrs. Anti-Checker, hey, hello there. Wesley says, hey, Checker, would you laugh if Lore shows up and he gets reloaded into a new body? That would be interesting. I too love Star Trek. Sentiment of the current writers of Star Trek. Miss Antier, hello. I'm sure Mr. Antier is glad you're here. Actually, she's not home yet. I would rather that she were home. She's waiting for Joshua to get out of his thing, and then they're going to come home. Queen of all Sturdistan, a ruler of nerds, says Nightbreeze. Indeed. And that's why Thomas said, all hail the queen with his Uber chat a little while ago, and that explains much. Nepenthe, or however you say it, means rest, clear your mind. John Luke literally needed rest and some friendly faces, and Soji had to try and get her mind right after finding out she is a bot. I get that, but it just wasn't handled very well, in my opinion. Average wants to know, how's the song coming? We haven't recorded anything yet because we got to get the music together, so that's Yeah. Where is Lore making strange videos and dancing naked? Oh, wait, wrong Lore. Has not given me everything. Mr. Checker says Antrax not giving me everything. You have to wait. Talk to him about that. Shh. Replicator food is the fast food of Star Trek. Cheap, easy, and fast. Yes. And Melface says they also time travel in the naked time. They did. Look at Bird smile, and when he's shot repeatedly. Yeah, he seems to really kind of enjoy it. He's a sick, sick man. So Origin PC, the original founders of Alienware, have a gaming machine called the Big O that comes with a high-end gaming PC with either Xbox or PS overall overkill incarnate. Sounds like fun. Slacking in your duties. Make sure the Queen has all the materials she needs for her song by royal decree. Yeah. I'm working on it. Hello, you probably already know my question. I'm sorry, I'm unable to see the show. Remans, they mention yet when they speak of Romulans, did they mention Remans? No, they have not mentioned Remans at all yet. Which is really kind of surprising. They did mention the space whale in the Picard episode. Did they mention the space whale? I don't even remember that. Captain Trek said yes, he said he was born blind. Darren says Jordy was born blind. I don't know if that's a genetic defect. Well, if you're could have been a birth defect. A birth defect, you mean caused by the birth process? Or typically most birth defects are genetic defects. They're just the genetic defects that are apparent at birth. What are you doing, Auntie? Night Breeze is taking off, says have a great night. Darth Maul, didn't the Sona leave their planet and age? They had all the plastic surgery and all. Makes the effects of the planet only effective on the planet. Yeah, but the thing is that the effects will cure you of your disease. Then you can go about your way. You just wouldn't have immortality unless you stayed at the planet. You know, and so obviously everybody would want to be assigned to stay at that planet. TG, there was an episode where members of the crew were taken by a fungal species. What species is descended from the realm drive went to the spore drive? And Cinnabon says Troy was a birth defect. Wow. Nightbreeze says have a great night. Lancer says Geordi was not born blind. He blinded himself because his family left him alone with a copy of Free Willy that wouldn't stop replaying when he was little. Wow. Martin says anti-checker. Martin. And Jeff says, oh dear. Replicator food is vegan. The great question is, what's better, replicated food or Starfleet food rations? I would say replicated food probably, because at least you can make replicated food taste something like your favorite foods. X-Files episode, and by the way, they also established, like in Deep Space Nine, that different replicators will produce a different taste. Remember, Jake was running around trying to get like a Ractogeno or something from like every replicator on the station until he found one that he thought was halfway decent. I want to see Lore take over a new body, but it looks like a Rancor trainer. Stuart says, X-Files episode was silicon-based fungi and infected human body, ends killing the human host when it got to maturity and found viable host. Yes, but in the real world, a silicone-based creature could not infect a carbon-based life form. Mano-san says, ever tried VR? Captain Foley says it's great. I want to know what you think of it. I would love to try it, but I don't have any VR equipment that I could plug into my computer. Do you still have that clip of Bird of Prey trying to kill me when his health was 0? I'm not sure if I have that or not, Thomas. I'd have to dig around. Cheap, easy, and fast. Are you talking about Replicators or Bird of Prey 5? I rewatched Enterprise Dead Stop last night. I like that. Archer didn't trust the repair station's replicated food. Yes, I actually kind of like that too. Was the space whale in Star Trek Discovery of the same species that sent the whale probe to Earth a few decades later, searching for more of their kind or relatives? Good question. There's no definitive answer to that, but actually that's not a bad supposition that you know, maybe the whales are the whales of Earth were related to the space whales. When they were trying to run from the emo Romulan, Dr. Murado says that space whale name. I did not catch that. I did not. I'll have to rewatch it. Oh, by the way, for the other... too bad Captain Redneck's not still here, because he was like talking about how it's a 9 out of 10. This episode's a 9 out of 10. How is it that the maximum range of sensors is now about 150 feet? I just wondering, because it was like 100,000 miles for targeting computers in TNG. Now it's 150 feet? Okay. I like that they mentioned the Kazinti. It made me a little sad. It reminded me of the time Star Trek writers had, like Larry Niven. Yes. Where's the anti-cam? Well, the anti-cam, I'm having a little bit of a problem with that, Kronos, because I have, obviously the printer cam going, and when I plug the printer cam going, the anti-cam won't work at the same time as the printer cam and the main live cam. So I'm trying to figure out a way around that. So I'm still working on it. I like that Quark had restaurant quality food replicators, expensive Borellian ones, like if I recall, and the station's Cardassian replicators were inferior to Starfleet's. Exactly, which is why you would go to Quark's to get your food and drink. One would imagine that replicators do for food what condoms do for sex. Wow, that's an interesting way to put it. On Deep Space Nine, why did people pay for replicators when quarters had them? Well, actually, I think what Darren just said explains it. You could get a higher quality replicator. I have the Oculus Rift. It's awesome, but do get a bit dizzy after a while. Valor says, if I recall correctly, wasn't there a spice that replicated becomes poisonous? I don't know. Was there? Space Engineer sensors are 150 meters. That is correct. I gave the new episode a solid 6.8. Jeff says I gave it a 7. Picard 7.5 for nostalgia. It's a 5.5 for story, 6.5 average. I gave it a 4, honestly, because while I like the nostalgia stuff, I really liked Riker. It didn't move the story forward at all. It just didn't. Bring back Berta, says Aberjam. Well, I had Berta on the screen and everybody freaked out because how hideous and disgusting he is. Do you have any of the Star Trek PC games? Not currently loaded on my computer. I have played a lot of them. I played the 25th anniversary game. I really like that one. I played the Starfleet Armada 1 and 2. I play Star Trek Online every now and then. But that's about it. But honestly, there has not been a truly great Star Trek PC game, in my humble opinion. The dizziness can be due to an insufficient render speed frame rate. This problem will improve with future and better versions. Oh, as far as dizziness with VR stuff, I'm not played with VR enough to really know. Although, and I don't know how VR gaming works, but if I would have to stand and game, that would not be good. Because I could sit here in my chair and look around, and that could be fun. But if I actually had to stand and turn and jump and stuff, then I couldn't do it. Did anyone ever think to make a giant replicator that makes whole ships or fleets? It would probably look like a giant microwave in space, but it would be helpful in fighting Dominion or Borg. I think that makes sense, but the question is, what kind of power source would you need for such a thing? And let's see, is it this one? So Aberjam's just going to keep going nuts. So there we go. There you go, Aberjam. There's Mr. Turd O'Prey. I thought TOS long sensor range of 1 parsec wasn't far enough. Well, but here's the thing: when apparently in Picard now, the maximum sensor range is like 150 feet. So, yeah. I like the concept that civilians could get better stuff than Starfleet had on their ships, like in the real Navy. Yeah, and that's something I think that, Darren, a lot of people don't realize. They think, oh, well, come on, Starfleet's going to have the best of everything. Well, those are people that clearly have not served in the military. Why does Riker have all those defenses? Do all his exes hate him that much? Yes. Star Trek knew more or less. Okay. Oh, Star Trek knew more for less. Okay. Some VR games you sit down, and the standing games you could play with a very tall chair. Well, that seems like an awful lot of work for setting up a game. I think he wants pooping Bird of Prey. Well, the only Bird of Prey will poop right now if somebody puts a super chat in. So put a super chat in, someone, and Aberjam will be happy. That's hedonism, Bird. Oh, you have okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Now I know the one you want. That's not hedonism, Bird. You want... There we go. Berta. All right. There we go. So now if someone super chats, you'll get Berta will poop into the jar. But if nobody super chats, well, then you're just out of luck. That's easy. Giant Space Replicator will be powered by Peg Pop Twitch streamers and their fans. Might need 2 space microwaves. Stuart says it's good to see the 3D printer back working. Indeed. It'll be interesting to see if this print actually works. If it does, it'll be a minor miracle because I'm really pushing what this printer is capable of. But I wanted to push it on purpose. And I'm going to be, I've been talking to someone about like what kind of 3D printer would be best for printing stuff to send out to you guys. The big fall of Picard was the La Serna. If they had just made a cool looking ship, I might not have unsubbed. Yeah, I think the ship, and then, you know, the funny thing is, have they even said the name of the ship at all in this series? But yeah, if the ship looked cool, that would make a big difference. But unfortunately, yeah, the ship is lame. Please bring back the hedonism bottle pray. Well, it was Berta that was requested. And Thomas puts in $1.99 just so that we can see Berto Pray poop. So let's wait for it. Wait for it. Any minute now. Come on. You can do it, Bert.
Hello, world.
I got him! Great hit! Don't get cocky.
There we go. Bird. Oh. And well, actually, well, let's see. Just in case if somebody else wants to do it, we'll bring it down just a little bit more. That's probably a little. Let's see. We put right about there. That's pretty good. And let's see.
Money.
Very cool. All right. And I don't like casual Bird there. Well, I'm there. He's just squatting over the tip jar. Splat! That was awesome. You red poops. Well, if you wanted to drop a yellow poop, then you have to put, I think, $5, and then green poop is like, I don't remember, 10 or 20. Not too close, or it'll get splashed back. There's no reason you have to stand in VR. You can adjust your settings and compensate for those things. You can also use your controls to run, jump, etc. VR is just to move your head. I'd have to, yeah, I'm not against it, but I would have to, you know, right now, am I going to spend the money on it? No, because if I had the money to spend on that, I would have already gotten a second 3D printer going. So Jeff says that's disturbing. Bird has E. coli. Why is Troy and Riker's daughter is blonde? Maybe Barkley action. Oh yeah, maybe some Barkley action. Yeah, that's a good question because both Riker and Troy are dark haired. We know that Troy's mother had dark hair, and Riker's dad, I believe, had dark hair, didn't he? So it seems pretty unlikely that they would have a blonde child. Ralph says, why is Troy and Riker's daughter... Oh, I already read that. Cronus says, what the hell does one have to eat to make a green poop? What the hell does one have to eat to make a green poop? Lots of spinach. I'm not sure. What does turn your poop green? Let's find out. What turns your poop green? That's funny, an autocrat. Green stool is usually the result of a high quantity of leafy green vegetables in someone's diet. Bile pigment, stool may be green due to bile pigment in the stool. If food moves too quickly through the intestine, bile pigment can't break down sufficiently. So there you go. So yes, if you eat lots of green leafy vegetables, then you will poop green. So congratulations. Mano says, what do you like about 3D printing? It makes stuff out of simple basic materials, and they're not even very strong. I think it's the artistic side of me. It's trickier than it looks. I mean, it's not as easy as just load the file and have it come out perfect. You know, like right now I'm relearning a program that I've used before the most recent updates called Blender, because I want to start creating my own 3D models. And so if I bring up, I'm actually doing, and there's a great tutorial on YouTube from a guy called Blender Guru. He's at like over 1 million subs. And I modeled a donut today using his tutorial. So I'll show you the donut here in just a second if I can switch to the proper screen, or we'll just move Blender over here. So this is the donut that I was working on today. Yeah, so there you go, 3D donut made by me. But honestly, I love 3D modeling. That's what I really like doing, and I want to get back into that. I used Maya. I barely scratched the. I didn't like Blender. I got Blender like a year or two ago when I first decided to start getting into 3D printing. Of course, I wanted to do my own 3D models, and I used to do Maya all the time. And unfortunately, I hated Blender. I was like, this is crap. And so I didn't like Blender, so I was like trying to find other ways to get models. Well, then I actually am partnering with a guy who is a professional modeler. He's going to help me with a couple of things to get things going for the printer. But I want to design my own stuff. And I guess they recently, just a few months ago, completely revamped the Blender engine from the ground up, and now it is a lot better. I will tell you, compared to when I tried to use it before, it is 100 times better. So I'm going to start learning Blender as much as I can in the time in between when I'm working on videos and working on my job and, you know, sleeping. I'm going to be basically focusing my energy on mastering Blender so that I can... the audio's out of sync, JP. Try refreshing. So that I can start building my own custom ships. And in fact, like one thing, I know this would be silly. How about make a model of this to print on the 3D printer? Huh? And Jeff says the audio is out of sync as well. That's weird. I don't know. Don't know why. Well, maybe that's just YouTube not liking me. Let's see. Poop is typically green until it gets exposed to the air and oxidizes. Did not know that, Darren. I'm eating a smoothie with lots of leafy greens. I'll send you a pic to test my theory, you read. No, thank you. You don't need to send the picture. Wesley said 3D print the donut, then eat it. Well, I wouldn't eat it, but I would actually... I may 3D print that donut when I'm done. I'm going to put sprinkles on it. And so I'll tell you what. I will print the 3D donut. That'll be the first 3D model that I built that I will print. Aren't there simple, easy modeling programs like Google SketchUp that's meant for modeling for dummies, and then there's a huge Google libraries of models for it? Yes, but I don't want a dumbed down... You see, like I said, the 3D modeler that I was most comfortable in was Maya. Maya is freaking awesome. Maya is the program, and the version I used actually was the version that was used in the creation of the various visual effects for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And Maya is just spectacularly awesome as far as what it could do. The new Blender, I've heard that has gotten a whole lot better, so I'm looking forward to getting more deep into it than making a donut. However, when I finish said donut, I may actually try to 3D print a donut. I never even considered that. Tubian says, is that another companion cube? It is, in fact, a companion cube, and it's much, much larger than the first one. This companion cube is basically as large as I can make it and have it fit on this printer. So it should be done, I believe, around the end of the day tomorrow, assuming it doesn't fail and I don't run out of filament, which I may run out of filament, which would suck because this 3D printer doesn't have a cutoff switch if it runs out of filament. And let's see. It's because you brought up the graphics window, probably. Yeah, that messed up the audio sync. Refreshing doesn't help. The Kurogans have launched an attack. Well, we'll get them. I find it funny that Riker left Starfleet and we get a house with weapon systems. Why does it need weapon systems and how can he afford it? Well, he's Riker. You look like you're being dubbed in the worst way. It's rather funny. Well, that's funny because Godzilla! Look, Godzilla! But I am going to wrap it up there, guys, because Mrs. Angstrecker is actually on her way home. That's what that last text message was. And I'm looking forward to having a relatively early dinner with her and then getting some rest. You guys are freaking awesome. I can't say that enough. I thank you all for hanging out with me, and a big shout out to those of you out there, like I know Darren's here right now, that have been helping me produce content for the channel. Thank you guys for that, because I couldn't do this without you. I really couldn't. And as to everybody else, just for supporting the channel, holy crap, I can't believe you guys are so awesome. And with that, live long and prosper. Jolan True. Kapla. I don't know, is there like a thing, I don't know, whatever Klingons do for Kapla. And yeah, bird still sucks.
Making your way with the nerds today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from hating JJ sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to just get laid? Sometimes you wanna go where all the Trekkies know your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be in a galaxy where Star Trek isn't lame. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Turds of a feather flock together, that's what we believe. We know a place that's got you covered, a place to get relief. Wouldn't you like to say me blue? Sometimes you wanna go where Turnistannies know your name, and all Karogans are to blame. You wanna be where you can see Karoga go up in flames. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
You son of a bitch, anti-tracker!